Hey there. Real quick, I want to show you a little trick because it's really hard to see all the polygroups when you're out at a distance like this with all the wireframes. I'm going to go into Preference and where was that? Is it Draw? Yeah, it's under Draw. You can turn PF Frame or PF Gray on, but I don't really want that. What I want to do is just get rid of the wireframe. Okay, Fill isn't going to do it. Let's take, what do you know? P-frame and dial that back a little bit. You see how we can turn that off entirely? And now we're looking at something else. So, probably should have done this earlier for you guys because it makes things much easier to see it, but there we go. You've got it now. And now we can see that that iliotibial band really just doesn't, it needs to be put in there with the quadriceps. Cool. All right, now hip. Gluteus medius and maximus. They're going to be pretty much on the back side of the great trochanter. So let's talk about the pelvis on either side. So the gluteus medius, the maximus, they're all coming down to the femur, but from the back side. And it's the same when you get into an animal. Their function is not the same as what's happening on the other side. It's not the same as the tensor fasciae latae, which is coming down and connecting in this direction. In the human case, I'm going to go ahead and say the tensor fasciae latae, these guys, on this side we're dealing with the flexing and then extending the leg back would be the gluteus medius, maximus, and of course several other stuff. So animals, this is going to vary, but let's just group these as different parts. So we're going to say medius and maximus is going to be one, tensor fasciae latae, another. Okay, but there's some other stuff in there with the tensor fasciae latae. Some other stuff in here, iliopsoas, all of that. Do these guys have an impact in that? What do they do? Notice that the iliopsoas is actually coming around to the back, so it's actually probably more of a flexor than anything else because it's coming around to the back. So let's just leave it as it is. And now we need to get in and start talking about the trunk. So let's get the front. Okay, remember right down the middle. Let's get one side and the other grouped because we're going to have to make some major modifications in the from the animals. So external obliques, abdominal muscles, pectoralis. Okay, these are all in the front of the body, group visible. Okay, the lat, trapezius, serratus anterior. Okay, these are all going to be on the other side. So let's group these. We should probably group the serratus anterior with the rest of the scapula muscles. That way they just get positioned correctly. Okay, I'm going to auto group that. Get rid of these guys and then group the whole thing. And redo. Alright, so we've got a front and a back division going over almost the entire model at this point. So that's great. And we're able to see it really clearly too, which is quite nice with this change. Okay, let's take a look at same deal in terms of the muscles of the neck. Sternocleidomastoid, okay, omohyoid, all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, and group visible. And group visible. And in fact, why don't we just group all of those? Okay, now face muscles. Okay, what are we going to do there? There's going to be a couple of divisions, and what I'm going to do is kind of, I'm going to group things according to Elliot Goldfinger's divisions and the way that he breaks them up. Okay, and it has to do with the logic of parts, things like that. So the orbicularis oculi, that's its own beast. The mouth muscle, that's going to be its own beast. We're going to be positioning that all by itself. Okay, but now let's come up here and get this upper lip stuff. So zygomaticus, okay, and all of these guys, levitator labii, all of that. Okay, and we're going to just group as one. I'm going to group all of the eye muscles there as one, while leaving the temporalis all by itself, and the frontalis, sorry. Let's group all of the nose, columella, okay, and then lower lip. Different color. There, it's better. Where do we want these guys? Okay, masseter, buccinator, kind of its own. Buccinator could be its own, but anyways. I'd say we're in pretty good shape. Mouth is its own. Things relating to the upper lip and the maxilla are their own. Things relating to the mandible and the lower lip are their own. Master is its own. Temporalis, frontalis, and brow. Alright. And then again, front of the neck, back of the neck. Extension, flexion. At this point we're done. And so save this. I'll save it here in a moment. Save this, and then in the next section we're going to actually start to position it.